And I'm Liz.
And I'm slightly off camera, so let me just center myself here. And we are Jeff and Liz Tan, and this is our show. So welcome to the show.
Yep, we're work from home entrepreneurs
And parents of 9 kids.
and homeschoolers.
So we get a ton of questions about how we do things and what we do. And so this is what the show is all about, like answering all those questions.
Yeah.
As I'm going through this, you know what, I just realized that last week we had some technical issues with our audio, and so we got a ton of great feedback from that, so thanks everybody for helping us out with that. I think I got it figured out this time, but like I've said all season, this is our
Everybody gets to watch our learning curve.
Exactly, this week, right? So we're learning tons of stuff, which is cool. Tonight's episode, we are going to the other end of the age spectrum. Last week we talked about teenagers and dating, and this week we are talking about potty training, and we'll talk about some of the things that we've done potty training and little tips that have helped us out and little ideas that we've helped.
Because it's topical for us right now. We have one in that stage currently,
exactly,
so,
right?
Yeah.
I want to show, I'm going to show you this quick first. So our homeschool year is well underway, and I just wanted to show you one of these, one of the crafts that the kids do during homeschooling. I thought that this was cool. So this is a rocket. This is a blow rocket. So you take a couple of pieces of paper, you glue them together into a triangle like this, and make it so that the straw fits in underneath there. Okay, this teaches physics and the laws of Newton's law, aerodynamics and Newton's laws of physics and everything like that. Anyway, so you take this and let's see if I can get this out right. Okay, there you go. So, and then it's gone, and the kids make more of these things. These are the kind of things that I like to do. The problem is they make a big mess. Okay, this one didn't work. So
It must have a hole in it.
Oh, there it goes. Okay, so, okay.
And this is the kind of thing that the kids get stuck right into. And they make them, and they make them, and they make them, and they make them ad nauseum.
And they make thousands of them.
And then I'm stepping on them and slipping on them and hiding them and throwing them in the garbage.
But stepping on one of these is 1,000 times better than stepping on Lego. Because I can tell you, we've stepped on a lot of Lego. Yes, we have. Okay. So, and what else we're going to talk about tonight? We're also going to talk about different things that make marriage work, because we've had a crazy weekend. My sister got married over the weekend. Yeah. And so
a lot of fun.
It was a whole lot of fun, a whole lot of celebration. It was a whole lot of excitement and stuff. So shout out to everybody that was at the wedding, and shout out to everybody who's at the wedding and is watching the show now, because it was awesome meeting all of you guys, and great to meet you. So
great to welcome new people to the family.
Exactly, right? So that's that's awesome. But why don't we start with potty training?
Sure. Yeah, we tend to be fairly laid back people about a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we decided early on was that we weren't going to stress too much about being rigid about potty training. I know, when we were first parenting, there was still people talking about, by 18 months, you should be potty training. And having started out with boys, generally we have found boys
take a little longer
later than girls, and sometimes it takes them longer. That being said, our quickest was a boy. Like the quickest one ever was a boy.
Really?
That was Nathan, I think, was like the quickest.
I thought it was Aileen. I thought it was
Aileen she was like a day and a half. That's true.
Yeah.
But
so our quickest was what? A day?
Yeah, Nathan just got it. But I think because we waited so long and he was totally ready.
Yeah.
Because when Nathan was training, he was coming up on 3, because we had Raphael was 20 months younger than him, and then Bernadette was only 14 months younger than Raphael. So Nathan was still in diapers when we had 2 younger than him. So he was really ready.
Yeah, he was.
And that was just kind of, okay, buddy, here you go. This is how you do it. And
he got it, right?
He just got it right
Yeah,
away, which
yeah.
was a blessing, because sometimes we've found boys take
A little bit longer, yeah. But with Aileen was also like a day and a half.
Yeah.
She was a day and a half. She was younger,
Yeah.
right? She was younger, but she got it in about a day and a half. So that's something that you want to take into account too when you're. Now I realize that some people have certain time constraints, right? Because they're either going,
You've got to get them into a daycare where they
Right.
need to be,
and which can be stressful.
toilet
Okay,
trained,
so
yeah.
if you know that that's something that's coming up in the future, then
then
really
we're not the people to ask for advice.
well,
about
not
that
just
part.
yeah, but but we can say like
Yeah.
18 months is generally a decent
It's the
time.
earliest.
It's the earliest that
Developmentally that they have the muscular control. So for those who will train early, that's the earliest you should attempt to make them do something, because until then their bodies aren't physically ready.
I have heard people training as early as 14 months. I have heard that,
haven't
right?
heard that.
But
Okay.
it's exceptional. Okay, so you got to know your child. You got to know,
Yeah.
and you can like you can really gauge it, right, when you know your child.
Yeah.
Right.
And really there's a lot of forgiving yourself along the way, and a lot of forgiving your child along the way, and really trying not to make it a battle of wills. Trying not to make it no, you need to do this now because I'm telling you. Because really, when it's the only thing they can control and they've realized they can control it, you don't want that to be the power struggle. You want this to be something that they're just welcomed to do, encouraged to do, and then given ownership of and praise for when they get it right.
Yeah.
And that's been our strategy
Yeah.
all along. And we've never, I think with our first one, we tried doing the pull-ups route. So going from diapers into pull-ups, which, like more of a training pants. And actually what happened was our first one had a bad reaction to the dye that was in that particular brand and got a horrible rash. So we ended up just saying, you know what, let's just go straight to underwear.
Yep.
And what I found was that once they're actually in real underwear and they really feel the full flow
Of
when they have an accident, it's more effective training than when they're in a pull-up, because the pull-up just feels like a diaper, and many of them aren't bothered.
Yeah.
By
And you have to, so you need to be ready for that, right? So you need to be ready for that and say to yourself, okay, like
it's great if you're not in a carpeted area.
Yeah.
Where you can just mop.
Yeah, but like there's a certain amount of gross out factor that you have to be ready for, right?
Yeah.
But
if you've been changing diapers all along, then you're...
Yeah, but I think I know a couple of dads who, like it's a, I think there's a big gross out factor for some dads,
Okay.
but yeah, you just got to be ready for that, and you got to just say, right? But the key is not to stress out about it, definitely don't punish the kids. Like if they have an accident or if they're just still trying to figure it out, or being as positive as you can be. A couple of little tips that I've heard. We are actually, I just wanted to say this, with the one that we're on right now, we're halfway there, which we've never actually been in this transition before. It was like either all or nothing, but Gabriel, who is in that stage right now, he's consistently asking to go pee, right? On the toilet, which is kind of cool, right? Because it's saving a ton on diapers right now. Yeah. But he hasn't gotten the
number two,
the number two part yet, right? Which is which is fine, and we're just gonna let him
come to that.
Right? But for training boys, especially like for standing and stuff, I've heard of using Cheerios, helping boys, with their aim, right? Using Cheerios or squares of toilet paper. You play a game, you can draw targets or whatever on squares of toilet paper, place them in. I've heard of people, do that too.
In our family, I don't try to train the boys to do the standing up thing.
No, we just put them
leave
right
that
on the
to
toilet.
Jeff.
Yeah.
I sit them because it just contains everything.
Yeah.
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 And at that stage, they're so short usually that trying to aim over the edge of the toilet is often very impractical and makes
and usually with
more
boys,
of a-
right? And so with boys, right, you get once they figured out the mechanics of things, and and they're sitting on the toilet and everything, then usually when we're when we're in the washroom or something like that, and they see how things work, and then they understand, oh yeah, okay, well, we can stand up and do this too. So, but height is important, right? So you need to make sure that they're able to reach. So I don't usually try to do that until they're at least tall enough to to aim over the bowl. Yeah, the big white phone, as some people. Anyway, so right. So that's about that on toilet training. A couple of other tips that I heard. One parent I talked to just recently, was saying that they. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by.
Okay, push your blanket down, buddy.
I'm trying to figure out what he's trying to say.
His bed's hot.
Oh, his bed's hot. Oh yeah. Okay. So right. But they just sat, their daughter, their son or daughter, I can't remember. But anyway, just on the toilet, and had a little, distraction or whatever, right? And then just things kind of happened, and they figured it out, right? So they kind of figured it out. So I was like, okay, so that that's how they did it, right? So those are little things. Yeah, those are little things that we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and we have found some that it was a protracted, long, drawn out process.
I think the latest was almost 4.
Almost 4.
Yeah, and that.
And that was just, some of them are just not as motivated. Some of them just don't care.
Yeah, I remember that one I was a little bit nervous for, because we were getting closer to the school age, and we were not homeschooling at the time. So thinking, okay, well, he's got to be trained before it goes. But in the end, he figured it out. Yeah, he got it. So I figured it out. So that's.
Yeah, I think that was actually on a camping trip that came together.
Could be. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Right. We've trained. We've trained a couple of kids on camping trips, actually. So. Yeah. So.
And if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna.
Yeah, go tuck somebody in there. So anyway, we wanted to say a big happy birthday though to Kira, who just turned 10 yesterday, actually. So we were celebrating her birthday yesterday with the little cupcake, and we went out tonight for a celebratory dinner. So it's just been celebrations all around in this last week. Oh yeah, and happy Thanksgiving, happy belated Thanksgiving to everybody who was watching us in Canada. I'm sure that everybody also had some some great things to be thankful for over this weekend. So speaking of being thankful and and celebrating, and celebrating my sister's wedding over the last couple of days, I have to say that it was a lot of fun, but it was really exhausting, and I realized that I'm not 17 anymore, so staying up till 3 a.m. And having fun is not something that I'm used to anymore. But during one of the ceremonies, the priest said something that I thought was really cool, and I wanted to bring it up tonight. So he said, it's not love that makes your marriage stronger. it's your commitment to your marriage that makes your love stronger.
Makes your love stronger.
Right? And, and I thought that was, I've been trying to say things like that for years and years and not being able to put that, as succinctly as that. But
yeah, I think I learned long ago, and I was taught, love is a decision. Love is an action word. It's not just a fuzzy feeling that you have for someone. Love is expressed concretely through your actions, in choosing the good for somebody, in wanting what's best for them.
Yeah,
even if it costs you to give it.
And I think, and I don't know if we talked about it on another show, but love is one of those words that is misused and overused. And the meaning of that has been distorted in our society today. If you take a look at the ancient Greeks, they had like 7 words, 7 different levels of love, right? So when they talked about love, they weren't just talking about, it wasn't just kind of like a blanket statement. There was, a philo, which is like brotherly love, right? And then, then there was like, the romantic love and, and complete, self-giving love, right?
Yeah.
So there were totally different strata of love. And it's a concept I think we don't have today because, when you think of love, most people just automatically jump to eros, right? Which is the romantic, physical, passionate love. But there are so many other levels of love that you have to experience, also, within a marriage, that makes it stronger. Anyway,
and you need more than just the eros, more than just the romantic love in a marriage. You need to have that friendship, and you need to have the self-giving, and you need to have the acceptance.
The foundation of all love is friendship, right? So the foundation of all love is friendship. So you cannot have healthy, healthy charitable love or healthy, like romantic love. You cannot have any of those loves be healthy unless the foundation of all of those loves is friendship, right? Because romantic love without that friendship, can tend to be using, right? Like can become like just physical and not unitive, right?
It can be obsessive.
Exactly.
It can be abusive. It can be.
That's right. So
selfish.
Yeah. So the basis, the foundation of all love has to be friendship, and that is the foundation of everything else. Because I'll tell you, it's not always going to be romantic. Changing diapers at 2:30 in the morning is not necessarily romantic.
No.
But it's an act of love.
Yeah.
It is absolutely an act of love.
It's a fruit of love. Like, it comes out of love, and you do it because of love.
Yeah. And and if you've watched some of the other shows when I talked about giving thanks, in all situations, especially regarding our kids, being grateful, just being grateful that I have this opportunity to change a diaper. Right, being grateful that I have this opportunity to even hear my kids crying. Right, so I have that opportunity because there's lots of people in this world who unfortunately don't have that opportunity or have that taken away from them. So, I'm grateful for that. But love is a decision, and it is it is the fruit of deciding within marriage. I think it's it's one of the fruits of committing to your marriage, committing to your spouse, because that is, that commitment, is what will carry you through in the long run. I think that's important to mention, especially because in this age of, if it feels good, it's right. If it doesn't feel good, it's probably not right.
Yeah. And we're very much driven in our society to be based on individuality, to do everything to pursue your own goals, your own dreams, your own pursuits. So that's great for someone who's single, but when you are married, you're no longer one, or you're no longer single. You are two who are one. And it's not always best to be so singularly involved in yourself that your own pursuits and your own ideals and your own dreams of, mountains you want to climb and adventures you want to go on, that those cloud what's best for your unity. And the things that are best for your unity are what are going to be best for you as a person in the long run, because you're no longer just yourself. You are a unit with someone else. So in order for that unit to be healthy, it needs to, yes, you need to make sure both of you are fed, but you need to make sure both of you are giving equally and not just being selfish in your individual pursuits. Right? So you can support each other. If one of you has a dream that's really driving and the other one can support that, that's great. But if it's something that is going to pull you away from a family that you have founded with someone, or if it's something that's going to drive a wedge in the trust between you in whatever way it might be, then you need to reevaluate whether it's something that's actually good for you.
Yeah, and so this,
forward.
and this brings up a great point. So a lot of people will say, oh yeah, but I still need my me time. I still need my, my alone time. And that's true, to a certain extent. But, why do you need that you time? Or it's not a matter of, why you need it, because everybody does need a certain amount of me time. But what is your motivation for taking that me time? And I've said this before on another show that, it's important for me, the way that I look at it is, if I'm going to do something that's taking me away, or that's going to take my time away from my family, then I got to ask myself, how is this going to make me a better, husband? And how is this going to make me a better father? Right? So, when I take a look at the activities that I do, that are rejuvenating for me, right? It's specifically to become, a better husband and a better father, right? As opposed to, well, I just need some time on my own, and because I just need this time, just because I want this time.
It would be so cool to do such and such.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so, that, so the way that you think about it and your motivation behind it, is huge, because when you both understand that, right? Like when you both understand that, then, and then you're both doing things, because I still do things on my own, right? Like I still have, I do some volunteer work. I'm involved with, other stuff. And then Liz is also involved in her own, in her own activities. But we do them because it brings something back, into the marriage, for both of us. That's better for both of us, right? So, even if it's just for your sanity, right? Yeah. Even if it's just, okay, I got to take some me time because I'm not the best that I can be right now.
Yeah.
So I want to be better. So, you take a little bit of time out and then you come back and, so that you can.
Particularly as an introvert, I find I definitely need to take that time for sanity, with 9 kids, all at varying stages of development with all of their different levels of needs. Sometimes by the end of the day, I'm all given out. I'm all touched out, and I just need to remember who I am, and take some quiet time.
Yeah.
Away.
Right.
Yeah.
So cool.
But I did want to, because you were talking about your sister's wedding.
Oh yeah.
And I just wanted to point out a really cool aspect, because we had the opportunity over the course of this wedding to see a whole other cultural milieu around weddings. And so we're, from our tradition, used to having a wedding being a one-day event, and and it's all about the couple, and then it's over and it's done, and then they go away on their honeymoon, they start their family, and things go on as normal. So in the I'm not sure if it's predominantly because it's Muslim or predominantly because it's Pakistani. I'm not sure whether it's more faith-based or more cultural-based, but our new brother-in-law's family is Pakistani Muslim, and so we were treated to seeing some of the traditions that they have. And one of the things that we found and that I really realized was, because we spend 3 days in a row celebrating in different venues, and celebrating different things each day, but with the same group of people. And we've been very often throughout our lives involved in retreat ministry.
And I'm gonna do my dad thing.
Yeah. And one of the things that we've found in retreat ministry is a 3-day retreat is very often a good amount of time for a group of people to come together, to have some breakdown of barriers, a breakdown of misunderstandings, a time to open up, a time to share, and really a time to bond. And I have to say, really, after the 3 days of celebrating this wedding with this new family, you really start to feel the bonds joining. It's because a marriage is not just about two people coming together. It's about the meshing of two families and building a new family on the foundations that they've been brought up with. And so really about meshing those two families together. And we really found, like, by the end of that 3 days together, there was such a family feeling and such a strong connection building to bring those two families together. And it really struck me that they do this every time there's a wedding. So every time there's a wedding, their whole family is coming together, and there's food, which is often integral in how people come together and share those moments. And that was it really felt like such a blessing to be embraced by that whole family, and to have that opportunity to sit and get to know them and celebrate with them over that time.
Yeah, no, that was really cool. Yeah. So, just what you were talking about, especially the whole 3-day thing. It's very significant, right? Especially that, I know you mentioned the bonding, the really, really getting to know them, and really getting to know, just really developing those family bonds, right? So that was that was really, really cool. I really did think it was cool. Right, it's getting we are coming up to the top of the hour. So I want to leave a quote and also a book recommendation for this week. But knowing that love is a decision, right? So knowing that love is a decision, I wanted to quote something from Catherine Doherty. From it's a line from her Little Mandate, and it's love, 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 never counting the cost. Right? So love, 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 without counting the cost. So just, not saying, oh, well, I did this, now you got to do this, because, right? But really just giving, and deciding to commit, to loving, to decide to love, right? Because love very, very, it is first a decision before it's an emotion, I think. Right? Like, it's first a decision, before, because it's not to say that you don't feel it, right? Because you do feel it emotionally. There is definitely an emotional aspect to it, but, it is also very, very much a decision. And here is, before the gong goes, okay, so our book recommendation this week, it's Life Strategies for Teens by Jay McGraw, who is the son of Phil McGraw. Actually, I am just about to start Matthias, who's in grade 8 right now, reading this book, and then we're just going to discuss it. But it's great. It's also great for parents, too. So it just kind of goes over you know, if you're familiar with Dr. Phil's life strategies and stuff, and just on taking accountability for yourself and your experiences in life. You know, so anyway, so that's the book recommendation for this week.
Yep.
All right, so we are at the top of the hour. Oh, see, I even got dinged.
We got the gong.
We got the gong. That's okay, but you know, I think it was worth it. And it was a good show. So thanks everybody for joining us. We will see you next week. We would love to hear from you, and our email address is right here. Okay, randomtanexperience@gmail.com, and we'd love to hear from you guys. Okay, talk to you guys later.
Have a great week.